The soft girl lifestyle sounds cute and goals until you realize that it's actually keeping you stuck. Let's get into it. I'm sure you guys are familiar with the soft girl trend, soft girl era, soft girl lifestyle. This has been around for the past couple of years, and it basically refers to being in your feminine energy, not being stressed. I feel like there's also different layers to it. I think kind of the first layer is just like romanticizing your life, not being stressed out, doing self-care. But as you get deeper and deeper into these layers and, different creators and how far they take it can end up being this very toxic, traditional kind of movement that basically tells young women to be small, to not work hard, to just be pretty. Women should be seen and not heard type vibes because that's what true femininity is. And so today I want to talk about, finding that balance of, yeah, we don't want to be stressed out all the time. And even like when it comes to dating, that's another angle of it too. Like you want to be in your feminine, you want a man that puts you in your soft girl energy. So I want to talk about that as well. Like finding that balance. Yeah, you don't want to be raising a man, when that's supposed to be your partner, but then at the same time, you don't want someone who is trying to financially control you or expect you to like never have an opinion about anything. So we're going to get into all of that. And then there's also a few other things I want to discuss today from the Diddy trial. All of these just recent news stories on social media and how they are all kind of connected and how we can learn from them, as well as a personal story of me getting back into dating ? So buckle up, folks. Before we get into it, let's just start with a mindful moment. Wherever you're listening to this, whether it's in your car, on your hot girl walk, at the gym, while you're cleaning, on your TV, etc., let's just take a moment to take some deep breaths, ground ourselves in the moment, really notice your surroundings. I was actually thinking of y'all earlier when I was at the gym because I think in last week's episode, I was talking about how the bros at the gym are so stinky, and today it was extra bad, and now I'm starting to recognize this cannot be how I start off every episode. I swear this is my last time talking about it. I'm starting to recognize who smells the worst, and part of me today wanted to like put a sticky note on the door of the gym that says, "Did you remember deodorant today?" I don't know if it's like they're using natural deodorant or they just don't at all, but it's these specific bros and male bullying this epidemic. I wonder why. No, just kidding. Focusing on those deep breaths. I think it's really important, I know at least for myself now more than ever, to consciously ground myself, get myself back in touch with my body, and eliminate the noise. I don't know if I'm just more aware of it now that I'm older and my brain has fully developed, but I can definitely just notice the difference when I'm so in my head and like on social media and just thinking about all these different things and comparing myself and like my journey and just feeling like behind. And it's just like, it's very easy to spiral, as the kids say. Consciously taking time every day, even multiple times a day, to check in with yourself, just pause and remind yourself that this is it. Not not in a bad way, but just like no one is going to give you permission to enjoy your life. This is like what I need to hear right now. So hopefully this helps somebody out there. Nobody's going to give you permission to enjoy your life. So you need to consciously enjoy it. Consciously make time for rest. Consciously make time to relax and just enjoy yourself, have fun, play, and I think that's something that that's like kind of where I'm transitioning right now in life, I guess, in the sense of I don't know, over the winter, I definitely kind of isolated myself. I was not going out. I was very like locked in, just working, gym. I just didn't really feel like socializing, really. Like I would do wholesome things sometimes. I also stopped drinking and I wasn't even in the mood to like go to things and not drink. And now, like that was working for a while. I think that was necessary, but now I think it's just like the natural progression of life and the seasons changing. I am like, I just need like all work and no play makes a Stella Rae. not so good type vibes. I'm just like, I need more out of life. Like, I feel like I'm not living life. I'm very like just on my routine and that's it. And sometimes, again, you need that. You need to put yourself in that era. But I just feel like I'm not fully like living my life to the fullest. And part of that is like getting out of your comfort zone and like pushing yourself in certain things. Maybe it is like with work or things like that. But I think also for me at least, a lot of it is just allowing myself to like enjoy life. Like, I don't need to be productive or like doing something, working on something at every single waking moment. Like, I can just go have fun and that's allowed. It's like, why is that so hard? But hopefully, that's a reminder to someone else out there. Speaking of soft girl, we need to be in our soft girl energy. Getting back to soft girl, on that note, getting back into the soft girl aesthetic and kind of trend. Part of this is a response to hustle culture and burnout. And like, it's like people are tired. Hustle culture is a huge part of our society, especially in the United States. And we all want to like do better, be better, make more money, expand. A lot of the times this can lead to burnout. And I think, side note, I've been feeling a little burned out. So I was like, bro, I can do something about this. And it took me many a week, many a month even to get to that point. But then I just went on the library website and there's so many books about that. So I'll let y'all know once I read them. Let me know if you want a whole episode about burnout. But I think it's very easy to experience burnout, especially if you are someone, in any situation, bro. If you work a classic 9 to 5, like if you do any job, but I'm more so speaking from the perspective of like working for yourself. It's not like you necessarily have set hours, but I know you can like experience burnout and just like fatigue and stress in that too. So I'm not trying to like exclude anyone, but for my personal experience, it's like trying to be creative, but also trying to earn a living from it. And then being your own boss, it's like you feel like you always need to be on. And if you're not, you're missing out on opportunities, you're missing out on money, you're missing out on growth. And it becomes very overwhelming because that's not natural. Like we're not machines, unfortunately. As much as I love that feeling of being in the flow state and you're like working at something and you achieve something, that's like the best feeling, bro. But we can't be like that all the time. Like we just literally can't. Our bodies are not designed to do that. So we're gonna face burnout. And I think the soft girl trend is kind of a reaction to so many people experiencing burnout and just how our society is set up. Not to get too deep into that on this episode, but the price of groceries, classic example. It's like, damn, I gotta pay these bills. Price gouging is such a huge thing. It makes me so mad. The most recent example I follow like some history pages on IG, where they just like post TBT pics. And it was a photo of like a hospital bill for giving birth, I believe from the 50s. And it was like, I don't know how much it was. Obviously a ridiculously low amount. And then they adjusted it for inflation and it would have been just a little over $1,000. Now, I think I talked about it in the last 2 episodes ago, but now the average price to give birth in the United States without insurance is like 40 grand. Price gouging, bro. Like it doesn't need to be like this. So we're just facing all this stress. Obviously, we want a break. We want a break. I don't want to be stressed all the time, bro. Like, I don't want to be constantly feeling in fight or flight, constantly feeling like I should be doing something, unable to enjoy myself. And then we're seeing all these people on IG, like, traveling and, like, posting their Cartier 8 Love bracelet. So it's not a bad thing, to just want some balance in your life and to want to be less stressed out. And to not be constantly stressed about paying bills and making money and like just wanting to live a comfortable lifestyle. I think everybody wants that, right? Another side to this, of course, is the dating aspect. And again, I don't think it's wrong to want a partner. Let's just use a man in this case. A man that wants to, let's just say, provide, for lack of a better term. Because I think a lot of us, growing up in this kind of feminist era, it's like we're taught that we can do it. We can, as women, we can work hard, we can have our own careers. And so a lot of us are so smart and we're able to do that. And I think, y'all, What is it? Is it because these bros grow up with single moms? Like, no shade. But it's like there are so many Dusties. It's crazy. And I think it's just because their moms do everything for them when they are growing up. So then once they reach adulthood, they don't have, and again, not every boy, not every man, but for this certain, like, is it just because their moms do everything for them? Because it's like that patriarchal view of like, I want a boy because I want, my son is the man of the house. Oh, that's my little king right there. And then you're doing everything for him. So then he doesn't actually know how to be a man. And not even to use like gender, not even to bring gender into it, but just like, I think it's so important to teach children how to do things for themselves. Y'all know I have been babysitting a lot, like nannying over the past couple years. And yeah, it's just so important to teach kids to do things for themselves. If you do everything for that kid, or if you always give them what they want and never tell them no, they're going to grow up and have a hard reality check or just be a huge inconvenience, nuisance, and menace to everyone around them and society. I follow this parenting coach on TikTok, Lisa. I believe her last name starts with a B. I'll link her page down below. I love her advice because she really emphasizes and kind of teaches leadership parenting. So she says there's three different types of parenting styles. There's like the authoritarian, where it's like, you need to obey me because that's just how it is. And that's like the parent where as soon as that parent leaves the room, the kids are gonna like do what they're not supposed to do. And I think about growing up, like kids whose parents were super duper strict, it was always like in high school, the girls who before that had grown up going to like an all girls like Catholic school. Like those were the girls that were smoking the most weed, drinking the most, hooking up with the most. Because I'm sure it's just their parents are really strict. Their parents don't want them to go down that path. And so they go down that path because they're like, well, why? There's that style of parenting. Doesn't end well. Does not teach children to emotionally regulate or like how to have a voice. It's just like, listen to me or else. Then there's the parenting style where it's like, you overspoil your kid. And basically, your kid is not going to respect you when you're away and also to your face. And that's usually the parent who like gives into their kids' tantrums, always gives their kid what they want. They'll say, "Oh no, you're going to be, disciplined," or "No, you can't do that." The kid cries, "Okay, well you can." That's not healthy either. You need boundaries as a kid to know that you're safe. And that's again, that's not going to create an emotionally healthy adult. So then there's the leadership parent where it's like, we have open communication. I'm teaching you how to be in charge of yourself, and I'm leading by example. And you're going to do what you know you're supposed to do, whether I'm here or not, because you know just how you're being taught, how to like be a person, how to emotionally regulate, all of these things that are necessary, to just be a healthy person and adult. So I really like that advice. And so it's, bringing this back, I just think it's so crazy when there's all these men and it's like, bro, why patriarchy should be on your side. Like, patriarchy is teaching you, right? Like, not to defend patriarchy, but it's like, why don't you want to? I think it's because their moms do everything for them. So they're like, because I'm a man, I should just have everything handed to me, is like the attitude of this specific sector of guys. So, bringing this back even further, it's like, you have these girly pops who are like raised on feminism and in this era where, yes, we can be independent women and this and that. I'm gonna have a good job. And then you have these men who don't do anything. And again, this is generalization. I'm not saying everyone is like this. When these people get together, it could be even if the man has like a good career or job or whatever, it could even be as simple as like he doesn't do anything around the house because nobody ever taught him to do that growing up, or his mom taught him, "I'll do anything for you, my little prince." Socks on the floor, go ahead. You never have to put your dishes in the dishwasher. Okay, angel. Bro. uh uh and then these women are like, what the like, we both work or whatever, and I'm still stuck doing all this stuff at home, picking up after my husband challenge. That sounds horrible. And then in more extreme versions of that, you have like a man that literally doesn't want to do anything, doesn't want to work, or can't keep a job, doesn't do anything around the house, and it's just like, bro, be an adult. It's not even about masculine energy at that point. It's just like take responsibility for yourself as a person. That's disgusting. If that's your boyfriend, break up with him, bro, because you can't save him. You can't. Like, that's years of like probably his mom doing stuff for him. Put it away. You don't need to be dealing with that. It's not your problem. We can also understand why soft girl energy is kind of trendy because it's like, bro, I don't want to deal with a man child. I want like, and usually it's like, I want a masculine man. But it's like, I think what a lot of women want is like a partner, someone who knows how to be an adult. I don't need to remind you to make a doctor's appointment. That's another thing. Why don't men get tested for diseases? That's disgusting. Oh my God. So, it's just like little things like this. And again, I'm not saying all. I'm not. But a lot. It makes sense that women are like, I want a masculine man. I want a provider. I don't want to have to stress. Because a lot of these guys are huge causes of stress. So that also makes sense. But again, as you follow these soft girl pages, feminine energy pages, it can quickly turn sour. I feel like that's an olden day term. If you're overly romanticizing this olden days aesthetic where a man just pays for your entire life and like you literally don't do anything, not even in the relationship, but just like for yourself, I don't think that's healthy either. And again, to a degree, it's like, bro, be an adult. Take responsibility for yourself and your life, and do not be financially reliant on a man. We have seen time and time again so many examples of why and how bad that can go wrong. Maybe you're like used to dating, the type of guy whose mom did everything and like he doesn't have a job, all he does is smoke weed all day and like wants you to wait on him. And then maybe you meet a guy that like wants to pay for everything and buy you gifts. That doesn't necessarily mean that's like the right choice either, because someone like that could also, be controlling or use that as a way to trap you. So it's kind of like that, finding the balance. And I truly believe that securing yourself, your own goals, career, financial situation, all of that first is so important, as well as working on, setting boundaries, recognizing red flags, being able to say no, being able to get out of a situation, all of that. Because it's like, yeah, bro, real talk. If I'm talking to a man, he does need to be adding some value into my life. But I think to solely be looking for like a man with money or a man to just pay for your lifestyle, that's not good because that comes with a price of its own. So like remaining independent in the sense of like having your own life, making your own money, etc. And then the guy and his money is like an added bonus. I'm just thinking that's the way to go. And especially if you are in a situation like that, whether it's like a boyfriend or worse, even your husband, and you are legally trapped in this situation, just even living like that over and over, like, he can have his career, he's feeling this achievement, and you're just kind of like at home. Like, oh my God, the stay-at-home girlfriend thing, I hate that. That's the dumbest thing you could do. Unless you're like making money while you're at home into your own personal account, that's like so dumb because it's like he could kick you out at any time. Like that, I don't know if I just see less of that content now because I don't engage with it, so my algorithm isn't showing it, or if I'm just like, or if there's just less of that content. It's probably the first option. But that's not goals. I know you don't want to be stressed out, but it's like that will come with way more stress than your job will. The long-term effects of just living like that, constantly having to make yourself small, not having goals of your own, not feeling that sense of achievement from yourself and like your own work that you put in, that really takes away from your self-confidence. And if things are to end, you'll have such a harder time getting back on your own 2 feet and like finding your purpose again and finding that drive and like finding what your goals are and all of that. So don't lose yourself. You know, it's like money is really not everything. And it's like money is everything just in our world. And like obviously you want a man that has a good career and that like does what you want him to do, can take you out, you can go on trips, like all of that. It's like I'm not paying for a grown man. I'm not. I'd rather like literally pay for myself and go with my friends, like real talk. But it's like that should not be the only thing. Like you really do have to pay attention to someone's character, their values, how they treat you, and you have to remain solid in yourself. Main, as Shira Seven says, main character energy. Like it's like, oh my God, did y'all see Priscilla? And I know I've talked about that movie before. I love that movie because I just think Sofia Coppola really illustrated just how it feels to be in that kind of relationship where like you're just kind of the trophy, like you're the girlfriend. It's like you're not really a person of your own. I love that scene. It's kind of earlier on in the movie when Priscilla is like staying at the house and then Elvis comes back from tour and they're like having that dinner at the table and like he's talking, he's like obviously like the center of attention, but the camera's on her and just kind of how she's like a little uncomfortable, fake smiling, like trying to like be supportive. And I was just like, oh my God, this scene perfectly encapsulates that feeling. Like, have you ever felt like that before? It's not a good feeling. Such a good movie. Like, oh my, I love that movie. I've seen it like 3 times. I could watch it again right now. So obviously, maybe not obviously IDK, but we cannot achieve perfection ever in life. You know, whether that's in a partner, there's not a perfect man, and then we can never be perfect. But I think always striving for that balance and just having awareness goes a long way. And like that's what we should strive for because things happen in life. A lot of things happen that are out of our control. You could be like living the perfect life and like something could happen. You never like knock on wood, bro. Knock on wood if you can. But it's like having the ability to pivot to again, be aware, be aware of the vibes around you. That is like an important skill. And like I think also just being able to be a whole person because then you'll just have such an easier time like restarting if you have to or like leaving a situation if you have to. Like building that inner strength is really what's going to save you at the end of the day. Whether it's from a bad job that you want out of or a bad relationship. Again, something happens, we fall down, like the ability to pick yourself up and to pivot and to have that strength to like keep going forward and let yourself know it's going to be okay. That's what we should strive for. Like not perfection, but just like I got my own back. I can trust myself. That's the goal. It's also really important to like especially if you're the type of girl we like I love the hustle. I love the game. I love the hustle. If you're the firstborn daughter, you know, we just know how to get shit done. And sometimes that can attract the wrong type of people, whether that's friends or guys, like people that you're dating, because somebody without their shit together sees you with all their shit together and you're like willing to help out people or like always like be able to save the day. The wrong type of people can easily be attracted to that because they're like, oh, easy. So developing a sense of just, you know, those personal boundaries, like getting comfortable saying no, being comfortable creating an uncomfortable moment to not let people take advantage of you. And again, just being aware of those vibes and not being delusional. So, like love bombing, for instance, we're not going to fall for it. That's why it's also important to have your own life. Because, like, for example, bro, classic example, if you have a big package you need to bring upstairs, yeah, I could bring it up on my own, maybe, or like I could ask my neighbor to help me. But if I have a man with me, the man's gonna do it, you know? It's not like I'm incapable of doing that. But if you are saying that you're my man, you're gonna do that. And that's like a metaphor for other things as well. You know what I mean? The girlies who get it, get it. But it's like, I think my point is you don't want to lose the part of yourself that can do it because you're always relying on him. So you have to keep your own life. You can't be around this man 24/7 or you're gonna lose your skills of carrying your package upstairs. Or, you know what I hate is like, I think a tweet I saw recently was like, my wife won't even know we have bills. Bro, that is financial abuse. As a woman, I think, was it Kris Jenner? Was it? when she was like, I didn't even know how to like pay the mortgage. But yeah, like you can't lose your skills because your man's always doing it for you. Because even if it's like everything's fine, it's like a healthy relationship, he's great, he could die, bro. And then I think that maybe it wasn't Kris Jenner because it was like somebody. She was like, oh yeah, when he like passed. Yeah, it wasn't Kris Jenner. If you know what I'm talking about, let me know because I can't like place exactly who said that. But yeah, something could still happen. You need to know how to pay the bills, bro, to carry the package upstairs. You know, have to know who to call, what to do. Like, don't be a dum dum because just because your man has your back. I mean, you want the man to do it. That's like his job. You don't want to be the only one doing everything or like whatever. But again, balance. Like, let's not be delusional. Again, be an adult. It does not matter your gender or anything. Just be an adult and take responsibility for your own life and like know how to do things. Spoken like a true oldest sister. So, ways that we can find the balance and not be stressed out, burnt out, hustle culture all the time, but also not be like soft girl era. I don't know how to pay bills. I don't know how to carry my package upstairs. I don't know anything. Again, set boundaries. Learn how to say no. And I think this is what I'm gonna do. Scheduling, because like if you're like me, she's organized. I don't always like having just free time like that's not like I have to schedule in my free time. Even if it's just mentally like okay, from this time to this time I'm just gonna chill. That makes me feel so much better. You know, in Sex and the City, when Steve and Miranda first kind of start dating, or maybe it's like their second time dating, like once they get back together, and like he wants to stay in bed and like cuddle, and she's like, no, like I can't do this. Like I need to like take my stuff to the dry cleaners. I have to go to my class. Like I have all this stuff to do. And he's like, bro, it's like Sunday or like Saturday morning. Like, what do you mean? And she's like, no, like I just can't. Like, why am I laying here? Literally me. I would have to schedule it in. Like, I'd have to be like, yeah, this Saturday morning, I'm going to lay down for this long because my brain, like, I just can't. So if you're like that, cool. Let's just find a way to schedule it in so we feel okay about it because you need to rest. Like, it's not good for your brain. Even if our brains are very highly organized, we like structure, we like, planning. It's so good for that to take a break. So, doing things also like meditating, getting back into your body. I did this somatic exercise in my health coaching class the other day, and it was actually so powerful. It was just like 15 minutes. I'm gonna see if there is an exercise similar on YouTube so I can do it, and then if I found a good one, I will link it below. But if you guys have any recommendations, LMK. But yeah, it's basically getting out of your head and back into your body and just like tuning in and listening. Making hard choices from a place of self love and self care and thinking about your future self. This could sometimes look like maybe you want to push through and just like get something else done, or like, oh, I just need to like do this. But actually, long term, you're going to feel better, be able to think better, and make better decisions later on if you just like chose to take a nap or like go to bed. Maybe put it off until tomorrow. It's like some of us were so hyper, like not like hyper aware, but just like, oh, I don't want to be lazy. I don't want to like fall off. I don't want to do this or that. That you're going to cause yourself to because you're not allowing yourself to rest. So, like, making smart long-term decisions that will make you feel good and save your ass long term. Like, you deserve ease, girly pop. You do. But you also deserve to be in control of your own life and to make your own decisions and to feel proud about yourself and to feel like your life is meaningful. Like you can only do Pilates matcha Target so many times before you start to lose your mind. And it's like, you wonder why these housewives in the olden days had like Quaalude addictions. And then they had to ban them. Lobotomies. I know we make jokes now about that, but it's like, that's because these women had no sense of purpose and they were really depressed. It's not, and I know I've talked about that before, but people will also try to glamorize that. Like, I would have been such a good housewife. I love doing drugs and like chilling. No, they were like an animal at the zoo. No stimulation, no like you're literally just there kind of as a robot. Like, I'm the wife. Like that scene in Priscilla. He gets to be the main character, go off and live his life and feel purpose and like have meaning. And you're just like, and that really takes a toll on your mental. So you got to look out. So on the topic of being in a bad relationship, and I say bad because sometimes YouTube lags me. But it is so crazy that last week it was a full moon in Scorpio on Monday. And if you know anything about astrology, you know that Scorpio is kind of a sign that represents like power. Sometimes, like, it can be like power, sex, like kind of not necessarily the dark side of things, but like beneath the surface, like getting to the depths of something. And all of this tea came out. Like, full moons are when the tea comes out, when things come to light, and you can like realize a lot of things, the truth can come to the surface, etc. All of these things came out. So the Diddy trial started that Monday. This Ace family drama, where I guess basically Catherine has a book coming out, and like a couple pages of the book were available on, like, it wasn't Amazon, but it was like the Kindle website or something, and it was like about how she found out Austin was cheating on her. And then also a couple days after the full moon, I think, or like even the day after, it was released that DDG is like super abusive. All of these examples are a little different, but I think there are underlying themes within all of them. And I found this website. There are a lot of websites and resources out there for victims of DV or of narcissistic abuse or just, toxic relationships. And it's been very interesting to see. I think something that really stands out to me in all of these examples is that the man tries to blame the woman for the damage the man has done. So whether that's like in court, they're trying to say that it was a mutually abusive situation. Austin McBroom is like making TikToks like, well, she made me do that. And then I don't know how much of this you guys have seen, but just over even like the past year, but like the past 6 months maybe, DDG basically having this whole smear campaign on the mother of his child and trying to say, oh, she's not letting me see my son, this and that. And it's like whole time she's like doing things legally, like as you should, like, okay, you want to see your son, let's have a visitation schedule, etc. And apparently when she told him that, he like bashed her face into the steering wheel. So to a narcissist, their public image is the most important thing to them because they need excessive praise and admiration, and that will always come first. They do not care about you, how you're feeling, your emotions, how something is affecting you, anything. And so, especially in these very public situations, or like, situations with celebrity couples, publicly known couples, if anything ever comes out like this, or if the victim steps forward, like the woman in the situation comes out with her side and like the truth, they are immediately going to try to spin it. And I think a huge part of the problem is we live in, again, such like a patriarchal society where we just, so many people want to victim blame the woman, not believe the woman. And then it's like as soon as something really insane happens, like she gets unalived or something like that, then it's like, well, why didn't you speak up? Or like when it comes to things like SA, it's like if you come forward about that, people will literally not believe you and tell you like you were asking for it or you could have done something to prevent this. Oh, well, why didn't you just leave? If they don't come forward and like something horribly tragic happens to them, then it's like, well, why didn't they speak up? Like, why didn't you say something when you could have? It's like, that's not how that works. And it's just really sad. Like, if you have not been through a situation like that, I would really recommend that you learn about it because the reality is most women will be in, a bad situation at some point. So it's really important to know how to recognize the cycles because if you don't go through it, someone very easily could. And it, again, like if you don't have that understanding, it is even just from like even if you're not trying to victim blame, but it's just like kind of like, well, why didn't you leave? Because it seems obvious if you're not in that state of mind. But these, abusers just really know how to prey on your emotions and really just twist your whole sense of self. And you can become very, even like what feels like physically addicted to the situation and to the people because they know how to essentially like love bomb you and give you like the best feeling in the world. Like, wow, this is my person. I've never felt so like, and I'm not saying this necessarily applies to like the examples I gave. Um, but then they will take that away from you and you just have these huge spikes of like feeling so good and then feeling like horrible. But then they'll win you back because then they'll bring, and it just, the good gets less and less and less, but because the bad is also there and you have that kind of contrast, it's like you're just always trying to get to that initial high of like feeling good when they were making you feel good and like you were this perfect couple and like they just make you feel like you're the most important thing to them. And it was so sad. I believe it was on the first day of Cassie being on the stand, but they asked her like what did you enjoy about, I don't know if it was like the freak offs specifically or just even her relationship with Diddy, but she said, and I think this was the question that made her break down, like she started crying on the stand, and she said just the time that I would spend with him because like I just knew exactly what she meant. Obviously I've not been in that, I mean not obviously, but I have not been in that situation. But it's like you just want you want to feel connected to this person that like you feel like you love, that you think loves you. The abuser makes it seem like, okay, you can have that if you do everything that I say, and create these horrible consequences that will happen if you don't. And so that was really heartbreaking to hear. And again, it's just so sad to see so many people still victim blame her and other women and just not really understand what a victim goes through. So definitely educate yourself. I think something like on a real, we laugh to keep from crying, but sometimes also it's like time passing and getting older and like learning about these things makes you reflect on past situations, and sometimes you don't really realize that someone was abusive to you or like doing something that was not okay until much later. And so I think that's why it's also important to learn about these things, even if like maybe you're not going through that right now. But it's like, number one, you want to be prepared to avoid these kind of people, these kind of men in the future. And then also you want to be aware in case someone in your life is going through that and you can see the signs and you know how to, not that you can necessarily like save anyone, but that you know how to like kind of be there for them. And then also so you can think back on maybe past experiences and realize like, hey, that actually wasn't okay. Hold up, like, am I suppressing something? Or like, let's recognize what actually happened, because our brains also will really try to protect ourselves, and sometimes you don't realize how dangerous a situation was or unsafe or harmful until much later. I'm not a licensed mental health professional, so of course seek that out if you feel like that's something you need. But yeah, it's definitely, bottom line, it's really important to be aware of these types of people because it never ends well. Again, all three of those situations kind of, vary from just cheating to extreme mental, psychological, physical abuse essay. There are definitely warning signs of, a narcissist, and that's not to say like, oh, you should have known, but it's like, okay, I know this is kind of like a media sensation, especially like the trial and stuff, but it's like, what can we take away from this actually, instead of just like kind of entertainment and then like feeling sad? Let's try to recognize some of these patterns so that we can spot it and avoid it ourselves. This is from charliehealth.com. What to do if you think you're in a relationship with a narcissist. Prioritize your well-being, educate yourself about narcissistic behavior, trust your instincts if something feels wrong, and seek support from trusted friends or family. Establish clear boundaries to protect yourself and consider seeking professional help, such as a therapist, for guidance. If the relationship is harmful, plan a safe exit strategy focusing on self-care and limiting contact. In more extreme situations, legal assistance may be necessary. Surround yourself with a supportive network, rebuild your self-esteem, and remember that seeking professional mental health support is a sign of strength. I also read this really amazing book about getting out of a narcissistic relationship, and it also touched a lot on what to do if like you're married to them or if you have kids with them and there is that legal factor involved. I forget the exact title of the book, but it was like 10 out of 10, so helpful. So I will link that below as well in case you are interested. On a lighter topic, on the topic of dating, no, but on the topic of, getting back out there, dating, etc. So in my, winter months of kind of isolation, should we say, I took a little bit of a break from dating, going on dates, all of that. I have not been on a date since January. I just genuinely was like not interested, which I think that's fine. But again, as it gets nicer out, it's like I'm not like, oh, I want a relationship necessarily, but it's like just dating sounds more fun. Like getting cute, going somewhere. And it's like everyone tells me at least, to go on Hinge. And I get it. I have a friend getting married off of Hinge. They met on Hinge. Someone very close to me in a long-term relationship off Hinge. A lot of people meet their partners on Hinge. I don't know what it is. My Hinge is, okay, I'm not gonna say all, but it's just very, like, no. I haven't been on a Hinge date in like over a year, I think. And I only went on like one date with each of the guys. It was just like a couple. Like I was like, let me just try this. Also, they were both a lot older. I don't know if that necessarily had anything to do with it because the personalities were very different, but it just didn't. But I think, I don't know. I just I actually saw a TikTok where this girl, it was like a little slideshow of like her boyfriend and like how sweet he is and just like all this stuff that he does. It was very cute. So part of me was like, oh my God, like maybe I should like lower my age range on Hinge. Cause I think before it was like 35 to like 60. And I was like, let me lower it to like 22 and see what happens. Y'all, why did I start getting way more likes? Like, is it just because there's more young people on Hinge? I don't know. But it was like a lot. And it just got me thinking. Y'all, okay, so there was this one time, like, traditionally speaking, all the guys I've dated, even if it was like one date, to more serious relationships, they've all been older than me. And I think that's the case for a lot of the girlies. But I was thinking about this one time. I wouldn't even say it was really dating. Like, it was like talking. This was like so long ago. I don't even know if I was 21. Maybe I was 21 and he was like 20. It was something like that. He was like 1 or 2 years younger than me. Maybe he was 19. No, I think I was 20. I was not 21 yet. Which is so funny because I felt like he was so much younger than me, but I wasn't even allowed to be there. But I just remember my friend and I, there was like parties that we would go to, different parties in LA, and it's like, this bar has this party on this day. You get the vibes. And there was a couple that we would like go to pretty regularly, like not every week. But I just remember at one of these, me and my friend were a little pop-in duo. Like we would get a lot of drinks, we would get a lot of numbers, IGs when we would go out. And one time this guy like really liked me and like just wanted to like hang out with me. And then I think my other friend also had a guy. Like these guys did not know each other, but we all ended up going to IHOP at the end of the night. And it was just like so fun. Like even though it was like looking back like who were these guys? IDK. But it was just so fun because this is the best and this is like why I miss going out. There was no very few feelings better than when you're with your girly pop on a night out and you're like having inside jokes and things are just like funny. Do you know the dynamic, the ambiance that I mean? Like when you're just like LOL or you're like trolling guys together and you're like kind of drunk. That's like the best. That's like my favorite thing. So I just remember like my friend and I were just having such a good time that it was just like a good time. Like it wasn't like, oh my God, I like this guy so much. It was just like, yeah, whatever, but it was like fun. And I remember I got like a fruit cup at IHOP and it was like the best fruit cup ever because I was like probably dehydrated and the fruit was so cold and crisp and fresh. Like I was like really surprised. And I think I was maybe still vegan at this time. That's why I got the fruit cup. Not like extreme vegan, but I was like, I was thinking about like I have not had a night like that in so long because even like last summer, most of the things I did were like day things. But like sometimes you just want a night, like a full night where you go out and then you go get food after and it's like just the whole thing. That's the best. Oh my God. See, it gets a little nice out and I'm like fiending for the streets. Not actually, but it's just like that reminder, like I talked about it at the beginning. You're not a machine. You can't just like have your routine this is me to myself. You can't just have your routine every day and like wonder, oh, why am I not having a good time? Like, duh. You need to mess up your sleep average for the week sometimes to make memories and have a funny, good time. Memorial Day weekend's coming up, should I? But I feel so good. That's the thing. I feel so good not drinking and getting enough sleep. So it's like annoying because I'm like, do I want to mess that up? But then it's like, sometimes I just crave that. I want the IHOP fruit cup. Now I'd probably get a full breakfast. That sounds good as fuck. Anyway, I digress. So this guy really liked me, but it was like after IHOP, we all just went home. Like, yeah, we all just went home. I'm trying to remember if my friend came with me or if like we all just like literally went home. But obviously that guy and I like exchanged info and then there was like another party. So this I was like I think he asked me like, "Oh, what are you doing tonight?" And I was like, "Oh, like we're going to this. Like you can come, whatever." So he ended up meeting us there. And this was like something I remember my friend and I went to with like kind of more of a group of people. We had a guy friend that like worked there. He had invited some people, so there was just a lot of people that we knew at this party. The guy ended up showing up and he brought some of his friends, and then like one of his friends really liked my friend. Oh my God, this is like so fun. Like, that was such a fun night. That's the best. Anyway, this little bro, because mind you, again, I'm 20. I don't think I might have been 19, bro. I know, I think I was 20 and he was like 18 or 19. That's so funny because I was literally like, you're like way younger than me, but like I literally wasn't even 21. We're both like not underage, but like under drinking age. And I remember he was like very cute, like really cute, and he would not leave me alone. Like he wasn't annoying, but he just like really liked me. And I remember getting annoyed because there was like a lot of potential bros at this event and he was kind of cockblocking me like low key because he was not buying me any drinks. And I was like, I'm trying to get these drinks, like I'm trying to mingle. And so I literally remember like being a little lit and just telling him like you either need to buy me some drinks or you need to go away because this is like not working. And then he went and bought me some drinks and like continued buying me the drinks for the rest of the Then, okay, I think we hung out like one more time after that. And then I think my friend and I were doing some like IG deep diving or something. I don't even know how we found this out, but like we found out that he had a GF because then he started being super like kind of distant and like the vibes changed. And I think we found out it was because he had a girlfriend. And I forget how we found that out. So maybe younger guys are also a no-go, actually. Hmm. But where I was going with this is there is that certain vibe of like, when you can, for lack of a better term, boss someone around. Like sometimes I feel like these younger guys have more of an eagerness, but I think it also just depends. Because at the same time, I feel like especially these days, these younger guys like grow up on TikTok and like they are in their soft girl era. And again, this is like a generalization, but they don't necessarily know what to do. Like they'd be like, why can't you buy me drinks? But if you can get a good one, maybe that's like a good little hack. Just, I don't know. Because again, I think he ended up, bro. Also, I know I've talked about this before. Like, I've talked about this years ago when I was doing my podcast at my LA apartment in like even like a story time main channel video. But whenever I have like met a guy out or whatever and we like are first texting, LOL, I just always know when a guy has a girlfriend because I don't always ask, do you have a girlfriend? And this was a whole conversation me and a friend had like last summer. She said that she always asks, but to me, it's like if they're approaching you or talking to you, obviously they're gonna lie. So it's like I'm gonna find out eventually. Like I'd rather do my own deep diving, look at their IG story before they hide me from it when they're posting their girl, than like ask you straight up, you already know I'm on to you. What do y'all think about that? I just feel like they're gonna lie. So why would I even make it hot and ask? I don't know. because I'm not like, that's why you can't be delusional. I'm not gonna like, oh man, this guy must like me so much and I like him so much after like literally one meet and greet. Like, what? So, but so it's like I rarely ask that, but it's like every time I've thought to ask that, I've been right. So it's like something gives it away. I remember one of the times me and Sonia were in New York visiting together. This guy literally just approached me on the street. And it was so funny because I saw him from far away and thought he was cute. And then he approached me and was like, "Oh, like, what's your number?" I don't think he started with that, but we ended up like having a mini convo. And then he asked for my number. And when he first texted me after we walked away, I was like, "Do you have a girlfriend?" I didn't know his Instagram. I think I knew his name, but like, I did not look him up. And he was like, LOL, why? Oh, ladies, your boyfriend, when asked if he's single, when asked if he's in a relationship, he's saying, "Why do you ask?" Oh my god. So maybe it is worth asking. I don't know. But it's like, I don't always think to ask that. So something must have given it away, but I don't know what that thing is. I'll try and pay attention for y'all next time. But also, while we're on the topic, another way you can tell if a guy has a wife or a girlfriend is if, okay, this is a recent example for me. Recent as in like within the past year. This guy we met out, but I was just kind of like, I don't know. He would ask to see me like super last minute, and it would just be like, like I remember this one time I went to the gym at night for some reason. Like I went like in the evening, but it was during the winter too, so it was like dark out. And I was walking home and he was like, "Oh, do you want to go to the movies right now?" And I was like, "No." Like, no, like you're asking me last minute. It was like a Sunday night or something. And he got kind of like annoyed that I said no. He's like, "Well, you just make hanging out with you. You just make seeing you so difficult, like this and that." And it's like, this is a classic trick of the trade. You are interrupting their cheating time. Like they only have a certain amount of time that their wife is going to be gone or their girlfriend's going to be gone, and like that's when they can see you. And if you're busy, then it's like, "Oh my god," they're like, "What am I going to do? Like I can't see you after this time. I can't see you tomorrow." They get like annoyed. So that's why it's super important to, in my opinion at least, not accept these low effort dates and not do last minute plans. And if a guy doesn't confirm plans the day of before, I think Shira said like 1 o'clock, which honestly I agree with, you do not go because they're doing that for their own benefit. Like they're doing that thinking of like what's easiest for them. They're not thinking like, what will this girl like? What's easy for her? How can I accommodate her? Especially on a first date. Throughout any stage of the dating courting process, TBH, but especially the first date, if they're not trying to impress you, major red flag. The camera has died like 4 times while I'm recording this. So this time I'm just gonna let it happen because I'm just wrapping up. But let me know your thoughts. Should I give Hinge another chance this summer? IDK. Let me know your tricks of the trade for knowing when he already has a GF and when he is being annoying. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on anything I talked about down below. Let me know what you want me to talk about next week. And don't forget to follow and subscribe for new weekly episodes every Thursday. Thanks for listening. Bye, everyone.